Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining with us on tonight. We are excited to have something different. We have our Pastor A.D. Shaw with us once again, but guess what? Tonight, he is hosting our finale of Be Your Own Boss. And tonight's focus is going to be about our finances. So far, over the past month, right, Pastor?
Absolutely.
It's been about a month now. We have been talking about being your own boss. We've talked to Miss Pam Thompson, the owner of My Shade and Texture, and she shared with us her journey from small business to big business, valuable tips that she gave us. The following week, we had Miss Teresa Green, and she talked to us from the perspective of being a paparazzi consultant and her journey of really jumping up to the top, I believe 10% nationwide of her company. And again, gave us valuable tips of um, being a business owner. And then we jumped around a little bit to what were the kind of formal things that we needed to do as business owners. We talked about how do you set up your own LLC or your S Corp, whichever way you decided to set up your company formally. And followed by, we had some networking strategies from Miss Siobhan Hippolyte. And last week, just last week, boy, I tell you, we had some of the experts in the field talking about branding. How do you brand your business? Color choices, the importance of being consistent on whatever platform that you're on, be it social media, your website. And so tonight we are excited to wrap up this series and talk more so financially about being your own boss. How do you rule your money? How do you control your money? How do you begin to invest? Investing is something that may not be well known specifically in the Black community, um, as we compare it to other communities. But tonight we have two amazing business owners who are going to talk about finances. So, Pastor Shaw, I want to again thank you for releasing your Tuesday night Bible studies so that the people watching can be empowered naturally. You empower us on Sundays and Tuesdays spiritually. We have been empowered naturally. And I'm a living witness. My business will not be the same. I don't know about you all watching, but your business cannot be the same. So I'm going to ask if you would take this moment, take this opportunity to hit the share button. You cannot watch this by yourself. You've got to tell somebody else to join in on tonight. If you're ready to shift your family's finances, if you're ready to shift your own individual finances, and oftentimes we talk about generational wealth. If you're interested in making changes, tonight is the night. So get your paper, get your pen, and we're going to learn together. And this year or next year, this time next year, your finances should be better. It should be in a better place. So, Pastor Shaw, again, thank you so much. And it's in your hands.
Well, before you go, Lady Shaw, I appreciate you for the last several weeks. You have coordinated. You have been the expediter. You have been the host of these empowerment sessions, and we appreciate you. And also, could you just briefly, within 30 seconds, just let our audience know that we have two guest interpreters that are with us on tonight, and we want to appreciate them. But could you just share with us who our guest interpreters are?
Absolutely, Pastor. Your vision is for our churches that the total person be ministered to, spirit, soul, and body. And within total person, we have to be inclusive of everyone, not just those who can hear, but those who are in the deaf community as well. So I applaud you and thank you for making sure that our services on Sunday morning, making sure that every Tuesday night, even our private sessions with SGC, we always provide equal access to both our deaf members as well as the deaf community who might be watching. So we have with us tonight two interpreters who are in the DMV area. And praise God, our pastor is forward thinking. We compensate our interpreters. They are professionals working in the field. They're not out here doing this job for free, but all of our interpreters are compensated. And we are appreciative that we have professional interpreters every week, mind you. But tonight, we're just super excited that we have guest interpreters with us from both the Maryland area as well as the DC area. So we welcome them and we welcome our deaf community. Please share this link with your deaf friends.
Yes.
Let them know that they need to get on this live stream tonight to listen and watch and learn about financial wellness.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lady Shaw. We appreciate you so very much.
Yes, sir. Good night. Have a good one.
Good night. Well, God bless you, our viewing audience. I want you to like and share. This is going to be very, very important. I know the other weeks have been important, but you need to make sure that you share this, share this, share this. We're talking about finances, how it works, investments. We're going to be talking about how to allow your money to make money. So we need you to share this video. So before we go forward, let's have prayer. Father, we thank you and we praise you for this time that you have allowed us to come together and share with these that are watching lifelong empowerment, decisions that they're going to make, investments that they will make for generational wealth. We praise you, oh God, that you're going to give us what to say, give us the tools and strategies and plans how to be blessed in all areas of our life. We pray that your wisdom, knowledge, understanding will begin to flow. We thank you for these guest panelists. We thank you for our guest interpreters. We thank you for all that you have done. Now, God, we ask you that you would open up our minds and our hearts to receive what you have to say to us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I am so excited. I'm grateful because we have this awesome man of God who is a Floridian. He hails from Lakeland, Florida, and he operates as the Northwestern Mutual Financial Services right in the beautiful city of Lakeland. He is a financial advisor. He has many strategies and he has tools underneath his belt for all areas, for many areas. Liability protection, estate, succession planning, educational planning, investment planning, retirement, insurance. And so he has a wealth of knowledge to bring to us. And we appreciate him for taking time out of his schedule to be with us on tonight and to share this vast knowledge of wealth that he has to be able to share with everyone tonight. And so we appreciate this man of God, Mr. Ashley Troutman. And so thank you, Mr. Troutman, for being with us on tonight. We don't take it light enough for granted because we know that many times people that allow you to come into their conferences and different areas, they compensate you for your wealth of knowledge. And so here you are giving away this knowledge free to those who are watching us. And we appreciate it because this is a time, if ever, that we need to be empowered is now. And so one thing that I've been sharing with everyone this past few weeks, especially now with this social injustice and things that are happening all around America. One thing I have been coining the phrase is rebuild Black Wall Street. That has been my mantra. That has been my focus, is to rebuild Black Wall Street. We know in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, Black Wall Street, well, we know Greenwood was coined as Black Wall Street because these were thriving Black people. I'm getting to the point where I don't even say African American anymore. Please don't email me, don't shoot me down. But Black Black America was thriving in all areas in business, in entrepreneurship. They were doctors, they were attorneys, they were real estate, they were bankers, and the list goes on and on. And so after it was burned down because of racism, it seems like here we are again in this racial injustices that are happening. And even now with this pandemic, I think that this is a perfect opportunity for Black and brown people to take advantage of what's going on and to invest and to save and to grow and to start businesses, to do whatever it takes so that their money will make money. And when we come out of all of this, that we will be in a better shape financially than we ever have been before. I'm just tired of seeing our people leave behind poverty. And we know that with crime and poverty goes in hand in hand in our communities. But what I want to see is generational wealth, where long after we're gone, our children and our children's children and our children's children, generation after generation, is just passed on wealth. Many other cultures do it, but I want to see our Black and brown people do it. And before we go forward, I'm reminded of Sunday's message that I preached. Where is Nehemiah? Nehemiah chapter 4, where they had to rebuild the wall. And they had a sword in one hand, but they had a hammer or a tool in one hand. And so some people are saying, no, we should just march and protest and bring reform and justice. And then the other side is saying, no, we got to build. We got to build this generational wealth, and we need to close the gaps with economic gaps with Black and white people, and we got to do this and we got to build this. And so I subscribe to the notion that it's not either or, but it's and both. You got to fight and you got to build. We have to protest and we got to invest. We have to march and we have to build wealth with multiple streams of income and investments. So I think we need both. So while we're fighting for injustice and while we're fighting for change and institutions that are in America that have been seething with hatred and racism, at the same token, we must build wealth. And so I'm just grateful that you're with us. And so at this time, we welcome you to this live view to our audiences. And so we welcome Mr. Ashley Trotman. So everybody, we just appreciate him being with us on tonight. So is there anything that you want to share with us before we start and dive right into these sessions?
Great prelude into that. Wonderful. I am wholeheartedly in agreement with you. It is it's not an or thing. It is an and thing. We definitely have an and God. He goes before us and prepares a place, but he also tells us to be generous as well. So he wants us to do both of those things. So I'm with you. So I'm all yours for the time that you'll have me.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. I certainly we're going to take advantage of every part of knowledge that you have. We're going to pull it out of you and more. I hope that because we have such a small time frame, but hope that you would come back with us again and share more with us. So tell us about your job and the career that you're in. And I know you have to love what you do to be able to be in it for so many years. And I know you love helping people. So tell us and share about the love of your career and what got you into this profession.
Absolutely. It definitely is a vocation. I'll use that word intentionally. Vocation, as I've heard it described recently, is really a response to others. And so out of an abundance response for others is really why I chose to enter into this field. There's some other personal selfish things in there as well. But truly that vocation being a response and a call from others is definitely something that attracted me to the industry years ago. You have an opportunity, I believe, to bring knowledge and resources to people to help the lights come on for them in certain situations. It's not that they're not knowledgeable people. They're very intelligent, wise, thoughtful people, but you have a set of tools and a set of lenses on their situation that helps them to uncover the unforeseen. We call it the unforeseen because we don't know if it'll happen or not. But if it does happen, at least they're prepared properly and thoughtfully. So really out of that response with others is what attracted me to it. I knew everyone would not necessarily grow up to be Publix millionaires in my community. That's a big deal. You get with Publix and you become a millionaire. Right. And I thought about, well, what about the other people that won't be employed with Publix? Who's looking out for them and who's thinking about how they can also achieve their financial futures successfully. So that's a little bit about why I entered into the career or the vocation, I should say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I have noticed is that when and God has given me the ability to be able to have influence, to speak truth to power with politicians, with community leaders, with other pastors, with people that have great ability to change laws and to influence institutions that govern us and that have a great influence over how we live our lives. And one thing I've learned is that when you go into certain communities, the resources are there, but the problem is no one knows about them. And I have made my voice loud and clear, and I keep shouting it and touting it, that yes, all of these resources are wonderful. And we keep saying that we're doing this and we're doing that and we're doing the other. But if no one knows about it, then you're not helping the target audience and the very people that you're trying to reach. And I believe that is one of the greatest disparities and issues in our community, is that we put these programs together, but our communities have no clue to what is being offered to them. And so my question to you now is, why is it so important to the person that's saying, I don't need that. That's not for me. There are many people that are probably going to click off and say, no, that's not for me. As long as I make my money, I work, put the money in the bank, and I just hopefully don't spend a lot, and every month just save a little bit and see how it grows from there. And that's what many people think. They believe that saving is what's left over, just put it aside, and hopefully it'll build from there. Or they think magically money's going to come from the sky. But why is it so important for the typical family to have a financial advisor? Why is it important to seek out the help and assistance of a financial advisor?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, you are definitely right. There will be a lot that turn away. I mean, I've been in this industry for quite some time, and I definitely have more no's than I have yeses. And so I definitely see that and understand that. But I think the importance of financial advisors is, being that we're in a church setting and we can talk about it in this context, is community. God made community to be good, right? He made us to go through life in community, in relationship with other people. And I think that's really the value that an advisor brings to the table, is relationship. Someone that you trust, but then also someone that will hold you accountable. If you think about the best times that you achieve some of your greatest accomplishments, whether it be athletically or physically, there's typically some type of coach or guide or trainer or someone like that that's there beside you, walking you through that stuff. And that's the same thing with financial advisors. We become those coaches. We become the guides that help you think through your next move. It's not that you don't know the move is out there. It's not that the basketball coach, it's not that the point guard does not know that the back dribble crossover, go and then attack the defense. Is not, it's not that they don't know it, but when the confines are tight and you got multiple decisions that you have to make, it's good to hear a clear voice at sometimes to say, do this, or think about this. Have you thought about that? And that's what we become, is those coaches in that moment.
Absolutely. I love you sharing that. I've, in my years now of being in ministry and being a pastor, 15 years of being a pastor and over 20 years in ministry as a minister, I've learned that our culture, and I'm pretty sure that other cultures have some other ills or problems or situations generationally and culturally, but particularly our culture, disproportionately has not been exposed to how money works. I've done many funerals that they have a GoFundMe page and no life insurance, or they have no ability to pass on generational wealth. They've passed on generational bills and poverty and lack, but they've not left anything to their children or to their grandchildren. No property. Everybody, I've been in funerals where they've had to raise an offering to help assist that family in burying their loved one. And why is it so widespread in our culture? Because when we start talking about money, even giving in church, we get very, very skeptical. Even when we see financial opportunities to invest, we become very, very skeptical, and we close in with fear because we want to hold on to the very little bit that we have, and not realizing that God gives us the power, the Bible says, the ability, the knowledge to get wealth. Church folks love to quote the scripture that he will transfer the wealth of the wicked is later for the just. And we believe that God is going to transfer that wicked money from the unjust person and give it to the child of God. No, he's not. He is certainly not going to do that. God is not Robin Hood to steal from the rich and give to the poor. But I believe that it's going to be the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that's going to cause us to become wealthy. So why is it within our culture that that we're disproportionately exposed to how money works, and how can we shift that? How can we change that trajectory, that dynamic from our culture being a culture of poverty to a culture of wealth?
Absolutely. Great points as well. You know, I'm speculating right now, but I think it goes back to trust. You know, as you mentioned earlier, how instances have occurred over time historically that has eroded the trust that we place in institutions. And it's not until, oftentimes I would say, it's not until someone that you trust comes and represents an institution that you then begin to give up some of that trust. I mean, that distrust that you have. And so I think one part is on our industry side, where we have not done a great job of maintaining or helping to sustain financial advisors that are in our business or in our industry, so that they can serve this vacuum that's been created for years due to neglect from insurance carriers and investment people or what have you. So that's part of it. I believe the other part of it is just an unwillingness on our behalf, on our part in our community, to go out and seek the knowledge beyond what our sphere of influence may tell us. One of the industry leaders that's in the industry, Mass Mutual, did a study back in 2018 about the state of the African American family, I believe it was called. And in that study, they talked about how 40% of African American or Black families rely on other family members for information. And so if you go to Big Mama, or you go to your granddad and you ask them for wisdom and advice on what to do, they're going to tell you their best wisdom and their best advice. And it goes back to what you just said: put the money in the bank, make sure you save that money, and that's the extent of it. Or they're going to tell you if you do purchase insurance, they're going to tell you, well, make sure you got enough to for in Lakeland, they'll say for Coney to put you away, for the funeral home to take care of you. And so those are all limited thoughts, right? They're limited in their view of what the influence and the power of the dollar could be. It's not, if you put it in savings, great, but it's not working for your benefit towards the future. There's something called inflation that eats it up. If you just have enough for Coney or Odom or Williams Funeral Home down in Bartow to put you in the ground, then they've gotten paid and you had a great service, but there's nothing beyond that. And so because our elders lack knowledge and we're seeking them for that knowledge, and there's not anyone that we trust in the industry, it just becomes a snowball, if you will, of issues that can help drive some of these problems that we see. How do we shift that? We shift that by having that, like I mentioned, unleashing some of that distrust and going to those sources that may have more knowledge than what we may have in our immediate families, or going to those sources that sometimes if you just can't find anyone that looks like you, go and find someone that doesn't look like you to trust you, that you can trust and build trust with, because they do have a wealth of knowledge that can help you. You mentioned about not having homes in your presentation to pass on. If you look at any wealth or asset instrument, wealth instrument in a family's portfolio, a lot of times that largest asset base is going to be found in their home values or their mortgage value or whatnot, or property value, I should say. But if you have not properly planned and have the proper estate planning documents in place, when that death occurs, all of a sudden, this property that was once valuable gets bogged down by the estate planning process, because now you got 10 people on the deed. Nobody can make a decision about what to do with that property. The property sits, erodes, it deteriorates, and all of a sudden the city of Lakeland, the city of Plant City, the city of whoever comes through and knocks down the building because it's a hazard at that point. And so estate planning is even another part of this whole conundrum of problems that we'll have that prevents us from passing down healthy assets to the next generation. It's so many little pieces like that. It's small, insignificant things that we overlook every day. You just don't know about it because you haven't sat down with anyone that can really help you uncover what those things are.
That's good. That's good to know, because that's just a small microcosms, pieces of the puzzle to how all of the wealth begins to work. And thank you for sharing that. I think now as we are talking, getting more in depth about how money works. So talk a little bit about investments and how we should invest, the importance of investing, especially now, the stock market, where it is, how do we invest? And there's somebody out there that's saying, you know what, I don't know anything about it. It's foreign to me. Technically, really, this financial talk is a different language. It's a foreign language, and talking about investing, that's a really another language. And then I only have, at the end of the month, a small, amount left over from the bills that I pay and the rent, the mortgage, and especially in the summer now, the light bill, the water bill, the car notes, and all the other things that we have to pay. So I don't have that much left over in my budget. So could you talk about how can we take advantage of the stock market? How can we get started? Talk a little bit about the importance of investing, and somebody that maybe just have $50 left over. How can they get started into investments and the importance of it, so letting them know that their money can make them money?
Absolutely. So one thing that you brought up is the budget. You know, that's definitely the best place to start, because we often will find that we have a lot of fluff in the budget. And so I sit down with clients all the time, and I challenge them on, well, do you need that? You know, do you really have to have this? Do you really need that new car that you just that you're looking at purchasing right now? Can you do without it? So starting with the budget is a great place to start, because it helps you to get honest with yourself and understand and try to figure out what am I willing to give up now for the future opportunities that I want to create for later. You know, can I give up the $500 or $600 a month car payment, which sucks up so much of my budget, that can free up money for other things? Can I give up, or do I understand why it's so vitally important for me to stop swiping that charge card? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about investing right now. I don't care what investment person you go to, what financial advisor you use, I cannot beat the interest rates that you're going to pay in debt on a monthly basis. They're guaranteed to get 14, 15, 10, 20, 25, sometimes 30% of your money guaranteed, right? On average, you may see an investment get you an average return of about 10 to 12% on average. That means there's going to be some good years, there's going to be some bad years, but these people are getting money from you every month. That's why debt is so terrible. So pay down. Start with your budget, figure out where you can cut it. Get your debts paid down, because that frees up more cash and more capital for you to do things in the future, especially that consumer debt. There's some good debt out there, but there's consumer debt, credit cards, car notes, things that have no tax benefits to them, or they don't enhance your life in any kind of way. We got to get rid of that stuff. But then also, where we can start as well is in your company sponsored 401k plans. There's so many people that I've talked to that are not taking advantage of their company matches. They may match them. They may say, I'm gonna match you dollar for dollar. Well, that means if you put in 10%, guess what? They're gonna kick in another 10%. That is a great way to build wealth, is when your companies have those matches. If they say, well, we'll match you up to 6%. Well, you better put up every 6%, that's all 6%, so you can get all of the free money. There's so many small little things like that you can take advantage of that a lot of people are not taking advantage of. Beyond that, I would say the next best place to start is if, let's say, you still have $50, you've gone through your budget, you only have that $50 remaining. Another good place to start, depending on your income level, if you're below $200,000 a year, let's start carving off some dollars and put it away into a Roth IRA. You can open up a Roth individual retirement account with $50 every month. If you make above $200,000 of adjustable gross income as a married couple, and you don't qualify for a Roth anymore, there's some other things that we can do for you for that individual or that family. But if you are under that watermark and you have an extra $50 every month, put it towards a Roth individual retirement account. And in that account, you want to make sure that it's invested. There are some Roth accounts that are going to be driven around by a fixed annuity. Fixed annuity, again, is going to lose money to the pace of inflation. It's not helpful. Let's get that money invested into a investment portfolio that an advisor that you trust can present to you. Those are some things some places I would start. People want to look at the stock market. Unless you have enough capacity to actually diversify your asset base by buying multiple stocks at a time, individual stocks at a time. A mutual fund portfolio is a great way to effectively and efficiently diversify your portfolio by using that same $50. It doesn't make sense for me, at least I feel, for an individual to go out and then buy an individual stock with only $50, because that's only going to purchase them one stock, one asset class, and it's just not a healthy way to build wealth. You're a one-trick pony, and as that company does terrible, you'll do terrible as well. I would rather you expand or broaden your portfolio, have multiple asset classes, multiple companies that you can own inside of a mutual fund portfolio to drive that Roth IRA vehicle around.
Very good. What about someone that's already retired and they're saying that I'm living off my retirement currently? Do you think that they should come and see you? Maybe they can shift some things around, those that are already retired, or maybe they're already over the age of 60, 65, and they're living off a pension or maybe Social Security or some type of, as they're getting older, do you think they should still invest or come see a financial advisor to see how they can reshift some of their investment portfolios?
Absolutely. There's a misconception that people have that once we get into our retirement years, that we should stay completely away from investments, and that's just not true. If you look at life expectancy now, the reason why the Social Security age is what it is because there was a time when life expectancy was in around your early to mid 60s. But now with the improvement of medicine, with the improvement of working conditions that people get to work in, people are living a lot longer. The second to die spouse right now on average lives until their mid 90s. You know, you and your wife, you guys living, at least one of you are gonna live into that mid 90 range. Maybe both, but at least one on average. So if we retire at 60, 65, that's 30 years, right, of our money sitting idly. And so inflation cuts your dollar in half about every 10 years, I believe the statistics tell us. And so if you don't have that money working for you, you're losing purchasing power. And your dollar is just not as valuable as it could be in the future. And so I work with retirees all the time, help them to see the value in getting their money in diversified positions, so that they can diversify positions so that they can play some defense in a down market like we are in now. While some people may be down 30% back in March, you know, if we had a diversified portfolio for that retiree, I had clients that were only down about 6, 7, maybe 8 or 9%, because of the diversification that we have their dollars invested in. So absolutely, we work with retirees all the time. Don't be afraid of the market. Our goal is to try to take the emotions out of it and really just make it simple for them. It's part of that overarching philosophy.
Thank you. In our last maybe 2 minutes, we're probably over our time. You know me, I just keep talking until my wife text me and say, listen, you're over your time. But this is good. This is good stuff, because we need to know this. This is such an imperative time, vital information that is going to outlast us for the next 40, 50 years, and hopefully for the next generations to come. But one thing I want to share, or to ask you rather, if you would share concerning our millennials and our young adults that's probably graduating from high school, college, in the workforce. They're in their 20s, probably early 30s. What could they do? What should they do? What should they be doing right now to make sure that they have the life that they want to live? We see all the time in newspapers and magazines, on television, this glamorous life, and we're saying, I want that. I'm working hard towards it, and I'm praying for it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. You know, I believe they tithe. I hope so, and they're doing so many things. But what is something that could get them, thrust them forward into getting that wealth dream that they would like to have?
Absolutely. I would definitely, great question, by the way. My brother and I talk about these type of things quite often. And in our culture, in our African-American Black community culture, oftentimes nowadays, I think the popular culture that we have has taken the values of our culture in a different direction. You go back, and my wife and I were looking at some videos of 1920s and 1930 African Americans, Black Americans, during that Roaring 20s, Roaring 30s time period, and a jazz song that came up during that video, watching that we were doing, was a song called "Patience and Fortitude." Patience and fortitude. The song said, "Patience and fortitude, and things will go your way." Those were the messages that we shared as a community, and we believed in as a community. But now that message, a lot of times that we see our out in front community people or representatives speaking on, is about things are just not valuable. You're talking about cars and jewelry and all the sexy things or whatnot, things that don't have much value to it. So we have a culture that's driven towards this material aspect, but not anything that is of significance and that can build long-term wealth, long-term assets. And so I would encourage them to start thinking about where are they shifting their eyes to? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Is it anything of substance? Because those things really have an impact on the decisions that you make. You see a flashy car and you say, okay, I gotta have that. Well, you don't understand that the car doesn't hold any value. It's gonna get you to point A to point B just like any other vehicle. Why not we look at things that can be an asset generator, property, stock, as you talked about it, or investment accounts, if you will, things that will bring wealth long term. They need to look at their habits as well, because there's something called affluenza. Just because your parents took you out for Sunday dinner after church growing up doesn't mean that you have the means to necessarily do it when you're a young adult starting out, when you get that first job. So really dive back into what are the things that are of value, understand what those things are of value, and place emphasis and money and thought towards thinking about that. Think about your life beyond just the material things. Think about your life as a valuable commodity that deserves to be protected, that deserves to be thought out well. We got Fred Tomlin on the call tonight. He has his own business. Businesses are equity generators as well. They generate equity, where you can't have a business per se if you got so much of your money going out here, there, and everywhere, paying everyone else and not paying yourself. Another piece of that would be to pay yourself. You gotta set aside some amount of money, no matter if it's $20, $50, $100, whatever the number is for you. Carve off something that is doable, but also meaningful on a monthly basis, and put it away. Even if you start with savings, until you can get with a financial advisor that can tell you what you do now with these dollars that you've saved, but also the habits that you formed to continue to build upon. That's what we got to do. We got to look at the habits that we're forming, because wealth generation is all behavioral. It's nothing more than certain behaviors that you got to say no to, and some that you got to say yes to.
Thank you so much. I mean, that has really, I hope it has impacted everyone, whether you're a single mom, single dad, whether you're a young adult, whether you're a parent with a large family, small family, whether you are getting close to retirement, wherever you are in life, these life skills are so imperative. So I got to bring you back, because we didn't give you enough time to really dive into the financial system and how things work. And because eventually we want to talk about how money goes around, especially in other cultures. It goes around several times in our culture, maybe once or twice, and how it builds community you talked about. So please, would you commit to coming back and being on with us again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you very, very much. And we're going to do this again. We're going to have you back really, really soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Pastor Shaw.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. At this time, I want to bring this great man of God, who is such a giving man, a man that I've known for oh my goodness, 15 or more years, he was the first, listen you all, this man was in college. He's an alumni of the University of South Florida. His wife and my wife, First Lady, they're sorority sisters. And I never forget when God was impressing upon me to start the ministry. He was the creator of our very first logo. I ain't have no money. I didn't have not a dime. And when I asked him to do it, he was like, yeah, man, come to the house. Let's put it together. And he put it together, put our first flyer together for our first service. And he made it work. And even that logo is on my podium today. We've upgraded just a little bit. And you can see our crest is behind me. We've gone through about three different logos, but you were the first one. I want to appreciate you. I really do. I want to appreciate you because you invested into us. Most people can't say that, that you invested into us, and you have been one of our biggest proponents, our biggest supporters, and I call you an honorary member. You're an honorary member, and you and your mom, and so we appreciate you. So you heard what we were talking about. You heard what we're discussing, and how our community is in desperate need to be able to know how money works in this time, in this pandemic, in this crisis that we're going through, to be able to come out of this crisis when the marches ended, when the laws have changed, when the protests has settled, and when everything has cleared, and we go back to some type of normalcy. Where will we be? Are we still going to be in debt? Are we still going to be in poverty? Are we still going to be living from paycheck to paycheck? Or are we going to be better with our financial decisions? And so I want you to share briefly about your journey and where you were. Let's start where you were 15 years ago. Really briefly, where you were, USF student, graduating, starting in corporate America, and then all of a sudden, bam, you just became this financial mogul, this guru in the market. I mean, I know when I come to your house and we talk about the stock market and what to invest in, and man, I got this going in and this going on. I mean, you have multiple things going on, and I'm just like, whoa, I love it. So share with the audience concerning your journey.
No, I sincerely appreciate you inviting me, Pastor Shaw, and I definitely feel privileged to be able to sit in my humble little apartment and create the first logo for Shekinah Glory. That was something to do. You pulled out all the stops we could pull out on that logo. And it carried. I was proud to see it carried a long way, and you have upgraded nicely, I must say.
Thank you.
But no, definitely, like I said, I appreciate you inviting me. Just to share a little bit about myself, I'm Fred Tomlin, to all those watching live. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Accelerated Waste Solutions. We're a niche waste and recycling firm. We offer two main lines of business. One is the nation's only junk removal app called JunkShot. Download the app. The other is our other line of business is Doorstep Details Valet Trash. It's apartment and doorstep trash collection. We've signed 3 to 5 year long-term contracts with property management groups to collect trash at the doorstep. We operate that service in 20 states across the nation. That's the reason why the map's behind. But
impressive.
It keeps me busy. It keeps me busy. That's why I'm still here at 7:30 or 8:30 now. We operate during the evening. But that said, just to give you some background, I'm kind of homegrown here in Florida. I was born in Miami, but raised in Lakeland, Florida. Went to high school and George Jenkins High. Went on to the military after that. I served 4 years active duty in the United States Army. Served everywhere from Germany over to the 101st Airborne Division here in the United States. I then served 4 years National Guard in the United States Army here in the state of Florida, where I attended college at the University of South Florida. Go Bulls. And there I pledged Omega Psi Phi, which I'm a proud brother of the great fraternity, the greatest fraternity. I dare anybody to argue with me. But that said, during that journey, I was, like you said, I was blessed enough to meet my wife. I've been married. Tomorrow, believe it or not, it's going to be my 11th year anniversary.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. And so you've been definitely a part of that journey. I could definitely tell you in my early portions of my business, as you may know, I remember praying, having some real financial prayers to God about my business and about my family and about the direction that I was taking them, because I had taken pretty much a leap of faith on myself. And it was aspirational, but it was also inspired by a couple different people in my life. My journey in college, my background, I have a degree in advertising and marketing, hence making your logo. But that said, I went on to work for several ad agencies after college, which ultimately led me into B2B advertising sales, where I actually met my co-founder, who was a top of the board salesperson at that institution when we met. At that time, one of the reasons why I decided to go into business. Hey, Sherrod, I see you out there on the live. But that said, what I was doing was pretty much selling an intangible, something you couldn't even touch, feel, or taste, to these business owners in the way of advertising. And in part of this journey of talking to them about their business, trying to get them to attain more business through lead generation on their ads, they would start to just, I would actually have to learn about, the background and the journey about, the family, what inspired them to go in business. And what I found was that, to my chagrin, these weren't people much different than me. They just had decided to take a chance on themselves. Most of them had backgrounds much like my own, some more challenged than my own, some not so much. But the ultimate factor was they were willing to take a risk in a country that really honestly rewards entrepreneurship to a degree. Although it covets and it builds security around the employment or the labor force. We all need that, right? It's not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. But in the way your finances, like Ashley was sharing, in the way of equity building, in the way of certain financial instruments that are protected from taxes or have taxes delayed. Those are only exclusive to most of which to the entrepreneur class. And it was one of those things that opened my eyes up to let me know that I needed to step into that classroom, so to speak. And I was probably like a lot of your listeners in my late 20s, early 30s, looking for a business. I had thought about going into franchise, and I looked at a couple different franchises. But ultimately, I had the fortune of running into my co-founder, Sherrod Hunter, and he was already looking at a business in the way of the doorstep details of the valet trash services that we operate. He was living at a complex, and all of a sudden, a trash can showed up at his front door. And they asked him, he told me I had to put his trash in the trash bin. And he actually welcomed the idea of it. Before that, he had a nice new Cadillac, and he used to complain about putting his trash inside or on the outside of his Cadillac. If you live at an apartment complex, we might have all experienced that journey of putting some trash on the front or the back of the car. But when he got the valet trash service, he kind of welcomed it. A few months passed, and he goes to renew his rent, and they tell him all of a sudden he's got a $40 charge for this trash service. And at first he's perturbed by it, but he starts to understand the value of it. But more importantly, a light bulb goes off, and he starts to do the math. And he says, $40 times 400 doorsteps every single month. That's a pretty little decent business, man. And so he started to do some investigation about going into the industry. We started to understand the competitors in the industry as a whole. And we got together and made a partnership and took a go at it. Longer than short, we thought we were hotshot salespeople. We were President's Club winners. We're taking the big trips to Mexico with the Fortune 500 every year, Vegas, all that good stuff. So when we thought about going out and selling these 3 to 5 year contracts to these property managers, like I told you, I was selling an invisible product to people. I was selling something you couldn't touch. And I thought we could go out and sell these contracts easy peasy. Longer than short, we failed at it miserably. What we didn't understand, or what it took for a prospective lead, we took a prospective lead to lunch, and they shared with us that we didn't have the credentialing of the substantial branding and necessary compliance that was warranted to be able to operate on a multi-million-dollar asset like a 400-unit complex. And so we went, we rallied, we got our stuff together, so to speak, as they would say, got the proper licensing, got the proper credentialing. But in the meantime, we put our best skills to bear, which was our advertising skills. And we built out a website. We threw on there that we would do anything that had to do with trash. At the time, our name was Tampa Bay Trash, pretty ubiquitous name. So I was like, they call in for us to come clean up the sewers. We're going to clean it up. And we put up the website. Somebody eventually called. We didn't even own a pickup truck at the time. We had to borrow one of my fraternity brothers' pickup truck. If you go to our site, you can see it on there today. But we borrowed that pickup truck to satisfy that first junk removal. The phone kept ringing, and we kept pushing out junk. Fast forward a few years, we found some pain points in the industry. We investigated the idea of implementing an app that would give us insight into the trash that we were removing. It didn't exist. We filed a patent. Took a few years, but Uncle Sam finally issued one out to us in 2018. We awarded that patent, and now we stand today as the nation's only junk or patented junk removal app that allows you to take a photo or video of any junk or trash. And we use computer learning and human interface to give spatial recognition over to that junk removal to give you over a price point and a pickup time. So it gives us a nice key differentiation and a nice niche in the marketplace on both sides of our business. We utilize technology. But ever since that day, we've been growing. If I can tell you, if anything's been our success or the secret sauce to our success, one would be our implementation and speedy use of technology. Secondarily, would probably be our ability to fulfill and retain and get referral business from our existing clientele. Nothing grows your business like doing the right thing the first time.
Absolutely. I mean, you gave us so much. What I've seen, I've heard so far, and I've used it. I remember in our old location in Tampa on 1301. I remember
You,
South 78th Street. Our shed burned down, and we had all this rubble, and the city was getting ready to tag us and start fining us if we didn't remove it. Even though we didn't burn it down, somebody did it. I had never paid any attention, and you was like, go on. I called you. I need you. Come go out here. Remove this. And you were like, go online, download the app, take the picture. Once it come up, I'll see it. And once I see it, I'll assess how much it costs, how much stuff it is. And I'm like, how can you tell how much stuff it is? You need to come out here, come out here, come out here. You're like, no, I got all this going on. I don't have time. So I took the picture. You gave me a quote. Bam, it happened. And so I get it. And so it sounds like that you solved the problem. There was a problem. Your partner had a problem. He saw an opportunity. Hey, I could do this, and then you and him created a partnership. So it seems like some businesses or some people out there can grow, but maybe not by themselves, but partnering with another business to solve a problem in order to become a conglomerate to build upon what they have. And also I heard you say use technology. Using technology is key because many people are afraid of using technology. But I believe that if we don't innovate, we will die. We become irrelevant. But technology is such a big part of our lives. So utilize it, not just social media, but more than that. It's just so many components of technology that we can use it. And I heard you say referral. You grew by somebody utilizing your business and saying, he's the best, this is great. And of course, word of mouth travels. He's amazing. Utilize him for this, and then it grows from there. So my question to you is, there are people out there that are saying, I have a business, maybe it's a small business, but they want to grow it so that they can begin to prepare, because I believe that working for yourself is the best way to go, and not just working that 9 to 5. Yes, it's going to be longer hours, like you still at work now, but working for yourself is the best because it's a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, and you work harder when you work for yourself. So how did you prepare to go from that 9 to 5 job of corporate America and then transition to work for yourself?
Great question. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I have a mantra I share with people and my kids because they have to listen to me. But I share with my kids about the journey I like to see them take on life in terms of education, apprenticeship, and entrepreneurship. That's where I like to see them end up in life. And education, apprenticeship, and entrepreneurship. And what that is I call it the EAE, is your education, of course, is self-explanatory. That may be in a higher learning setting. I found great value in my college education, but it may also be through some other journey, either through a dictated course or believe it or not, on the skill training through the business that you're operating. Don't fail to understand that there's some self-education, even if you have a degree, that you're going to have to do about the business that you're going to go in. So some people can take that on wholeheartedly as their education, but regardless, I just believe that there is an education point to this journey. Secondarily is apprenticeship, 9 to 5, right? Yeah, not before the 20th century. This was the journey of most modern men. This was the idea that you would go under apprenticeship, work for someone for a qualified time, learn that skill set, and they would so quote unquote certify you as a professional in that field, and then you would move on to put up your own placard, that profession. And I believe we have a similar journey that we could take on in the way of apprenticeship. There's many things that you can learn from the institutions that you're going to be employed in. Everything from HR practices, things that you like to see done in your future business, things that you don't want to practice, like you can do better or improve upon. And all of those things are going to come through a tenured, learned experience by working from someone else. And you need that opportunity to build your capital through someone else. Money, unless you're Donald Trump, your money's probably not going to come just floating out of the sky. We don't have $1 million gift from pops, most of us. So you've got to spend that time in terms of building your nest egg so that you can execute on building your next level, which is entrepreneurship. But most of us will see the bigger gains of our wealth generation. There's not to be said, that to be said, there are some techniques and things you can be doing to create wealth while you are in your apprenticeship mode. Ashley was just sharing with you a multitude of them. I've been through a list of them, still participating quite a few. And so that we live in a great capitalist society where you can grow your nest egg and have it grow while you're asleep, so to speak, or with some compounding interest, and move that into the next level, which is invested in your entrepreneurship or invest in yourself. But beyond in my own speak, what I share with people is you really need to be prepared. I know I gave you that fast forward story about me and my journey in business, but I really took a crawl, walk, run phase to our business. I did not leave my day job right away. We worked at selling those contracts part-time because I was an outside salesperson. I could go in between my sales and stop in apartment complexes, pitch my new business to my dismay. But I still had the opportunity and the work with all the new that I wasn't ready to walk away right then at that journey. Once I got the courage, so to speak, or really what I could tell you what was my driving factor was really having my savings robust enough to where I was willing to take a chance on myself. And I always share that with people. You want to build up, you should have a 6 months to 12 months worth of your living expenses. Savings in general is good practice. But if you can build that little 6 months to 12-month nest egg, I always recommend just putting a year's worth of salary away. It sounds impossible, but like Ashley said, if you can forego those things that aren't immediate for something that, that immediate gratification, for some delayed gratification, it can really pay off for you. And that's what I had done. I was a single guy. I didn't have any kids. I was pretty much saving my money. And once I had gotten married, and also that dual income probably gave me some courage too with my wife. She's not a bad egg herself. But that said, once I had enough in my savings for at least a year's of our expenses, it gave me the courage and the work with all to say, hey, I can take a bet on myself and be willing to at least at the least of it, I'll go through 6 months of my savings. And at worst case scenario, I got to go get another job, and I didn't have, as I told you with my background, they have the worst credentialing in the world. So that's what I said to myself, and that's what I share with people. Just make sure your house is in order, so to speak. If you have the luxury of being able to work on your business while you're still in that apprenticeship mode, do so. But at any time when you do take that leap, make sure you've got a robust savings so that you can go through that journey, because you will have expenses. Whatever you put on paper and you build out that business plan, go ahead and double it, because it's probably going to cost you. I can always tell you, I always had our first financial advisor, the first person to ever lend us money. Shout out to Albert Lee of the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corps. He's since moved on to some other things. But that said, when we were getting that investment, I asked for lesser money than we were initially granted. And that's because I was trying to be humble about the dollars that I thought we needed to seek. I didn't want to seem overzealous about asking for too much money. And thank God I had a financial advisor that understood that, you take this little money, you're going to end up in the middle of the lake. It was his metaphor. You don't want to take so little money that when you're rowing across the lake, you don't have enough steam to get all the way across the lake. Or a better metaphor, you get to the 50-yard line instead of making the touchdown. You need that capital. So initially, that initial capital for your business is more than likely going to be your savings for your living expenses, and then on you can take that leap of faith and go on through your journey.
Absolutely, that is vital information, and thank you for that, sharing that with us. And so now, as we come to a close, our last few minutes together, We noticed that you have accomplished so much with your business, critically acclaimed. I mean, it has become very much nationwide. I was so proud to go into other states as I travel, and I've seen some billboards. I've seen some of your trucks, and I'm like, I'm in Georgia, and I'm like, that's Fred, that's his company. I'm in another state, and I'm seeing this, and so you have employees, you're in other states, and so one thing we want to do is we want to give opportunity to maybe that you open up franchise opportunities. How can someone that's watching say, you know what? While we were talking about investments, I want to invest in, and I'm saying this, and I've been pushing this and pushing and pushing, Black Wall Street. And I want to see Black Wall Street in every city in America. How can they invest into your company? How can they, maybe their individual or their business, their small business, can invest into Junk Shot? And how can they make that happen? What opportunities can be afforded to them?
Yeah, now is the great time. Although we've been in business for a decade, growing organically all on our own. As of January, we've launched our franchise operation for both of our brands, the Doorstep Details Valet Trash and the Junk Shot Junk Removal brand. To find out information about our brand, you just need to go to acceleratedwastefranchise.com, and that's just Accelerated Waste franchise. You can even just go to Accelerated Waste or junkshotapp.com. There's a franchise button on each of those sites. But the bigger piece of the opportunity is about just what I said. We've never went out of operation during COVID. We're a essential service. And we're also a niche waste recycling firm. So we operate pretty much in any realm throughout the country. But the bigger blessing of our business is really having two different streams of income. You were sharing with your listeners about the importance of having multiple streams of income. It's actually baked into our business to have multiple streams of income. And the way that works is on the Doorstep Details Valet Trash side of our business, we sign those long-term, those 3 to 5 year contracts with those property management companies that create that reoccurring revenue that we call mailbox money. Because if you come here on the first of the month, the first of the month, if you come here on the first of the month, we're pretty much churning through our check machine, making deposits from all of our management companies, sending in our monthly checks. They're also running through for our bulk removal, which I'll explain a little bit later. But that reoccurring revenue, that mailbox money, pretty much sets the baseline for our business and gives us an extreme amount of predictability about the amount of money we're going to make every single month, right? And then there's the other side of our business, which is the Junk Shot Junk Removal side. And we actually comprise our business very closely to the Doorstep Details Valet Trash because it has an apartment component to it. And because those apartments are going through trash in a much more frequency than a single family home consumer, that Junk Shot Junk Removal gets very sticky with our multifamily client. But what they do more importantly is they create point of sale cash flow for us every single day. So where we get the mailbox money coming in from the valet trash, Junk Shot Junk Removal creates point of sale cash flow for us every single day, because we could wake up on any given day and be doing a $300, $400 junk removal, say for a burnt down, unfortunate situation at a church, or we could be doing a $30,000 clean out of a commercial space for a warehouse, or like FBI headquarters we cleaned out a while ago. So it gives you that excitement, that mile to wow, but you always have a platform to be able to give you the reassurance of a great business.
And how can just anyone take advantage of that?
Yep, just go to acceleratedwastefranchise.com. You're going to find all the information. It's a very comprehensive, very detailed site. There's videos. There's also white papers that give information about the industry as a whole, but also pours into the business in some greater detail than, of course, I could explain here. It also will share with you the investment as a whole, what that pricing is based on territories and what you may want to look at as far as being able to take on this opportunity.
Thank you. We got about 3 minutes left. just share with us. You have a lot of businesses owners that are watching, and they may be in all facets of areas of business. Just list a few things, with maybe top 3 to 5 things or less of some mistakes that you made as a business owner. Lessons that you want to give to somebody. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do that. And maybe some things that they need probably zone in or make sure that they focus their attention on these things.
I'd probably say one of the bigger mistakes that I made in our earlier years was compromising on staff. When you first start the business, right, you're limited funds. You also have limited experience, and sometimes people can take advantage of you. Sometimes people can. Sometimes you can actually expose yourself to situations that you probably shouldn't have, but you did otherwise because you had those limited resources, or just a naivety about what you're operating in. And so what it's done over the years for us is pretty much put us into practice. You know, the old adage of hire slow, fire fast. We pretty much carry on the same adage here. We go through a very extensive process in terms of bringing onboarding candidates. We have a culture that we really want people to adapt before they come here as an employee. You know, most of the duties, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not putting people on Mars. You know, we're just picking up junk and trash. So there are some core techniques that the average person could do, but there are some specialities to our culture that not every person that maybe can do this skill fits into. It's very important that you set a culture. That's the first thing. And then to explain our culture, when you come here, we have an acronym called CARE. CARE stands for C is for customer service and convenience. Customer service in the way we treat people, and convenience in the way of our app, as well as our doorstep trash collection. A is for affordability. We look to be the most affordable service you can have. We want to make sure we're a great value for you, but we do so at a benefit. Then R is for reliability. Like I shared with you before, nothing's going to get you a repeat business like making sure that you're a reliable business. And then E is for environmental responsibility. We're in the waste collection business, so it's important for us to be good stewards of the earth. And so we look to recycle about 80% of the material, and we probably seek even beyond that. Most of the material that we have, even if it lands in some type of a disposal facility, it's usually some waste-to-energy firm or waste-to-energy facility that we're taking our material for. The landfill is our last stop, and we try to avoid it at all costs. But that said, if you can understand that simple system, I probably taught you not only our operational techniques, but also our sales techniques with just that simple acronym, because it fits so many realms of what we do here as a company. So as long as we can get people to fit within that culture, and we go through our testing, our background checks, our dual interviews with multiple management, and we bring them on with that process in mind, we typically don't have to shed off. We don't have to let people go as much. We don't have that much attrition. But if we do find out taking people through that process, they still haven't fit the cog in the wheel, so to speak, we're quick to let you go from out of our culture, to let you go on somewhere that you'll be more conducive and that you can grow better, because you may not fit within what we're trying to do for the company.
Thank you, Fred, man. You my brother from another mother.
Thank you, but likewise.
I appreciate you so much. This information that you've given us tonight is invaluable, and I really appreciate it. So those of you that have been watching, we hope that you enjoyed this. Listen, now I'm gonna share with you one of the first investment opportunities that you can take advantage of. I am Black owned. I believe in Black owned businesses and investing into Black owned business, but I also believe in investing into the kingdom. So if you were blessed tonight, I want you to invest into the kingdom. As just even tomorrow morning, our ministry, when other churches have shut down, they've closed down completely. And so we've been in virtual services on Sunday and empowerment sessions on Tuesday. But our missions and outreach and community department is fully operational. Every week, we are giving grocery boxes every single week. And I believe last night we did a debriefing. We've given out over 1,500 food boxes within a month, and we have serviced over 800 families. And so we make sure that people have come from Lakeland, Dover, from Plant City, and other cities to come on our campus to get a fully stocked food box. This is just not canned goods. I mean, these are dairy products. This is meat, fresh produce, fruits and vegetables. A one box can feed a family of 3 or 4 for 3 or 4 days. And we don't give them just one box. We give them 3 and 4 boxes to last them an entire week. And we do it on a weekly basis. Every week, we're making sure we're partnering with Metropolitan Ministries. We're partnering with World Foods and World Missions. And so they're seeking us out, saying, you be a hub here so that surrounding cities can come here and get what they need. And so that's what we've been doing every week. So we want you to partner with us. You can go to our website, sgchurch.net, Cash App us, money sign SG Church, Givelify, Shekinah Glory Cathedral, or you can mail the check payable to the church, to us, to our address. So any way that you can partner with us will be greatly appreciated. And so we want you to sow, because we're doing kingdom work, and we're in the community, on the front lines, in the trenches, meeting every need of every family in our communities. And so we hope that you've been blessed. We pray that you have been empowered. We pray that you have received the vital information to grow your business, to start your business, to invest in yourself. It's time to invest in yourself, not into all these other means, but invest in yourself so that you can invest into this capitalism that America has set up so that you could take advantage of the wealth. And let's close this generational gap, this wealth gap, and the racial divide of America. I don't know the statistics, but I think the average income of a white family is like $170,000. The average income of a black family is like $18,000 to $19,000, $20,000. I don't know the specifics, but the disparity is so wide. And so we want to empower you to take full advantage of this. So thank you again, Mr. Ashley Trotman, and thank you, Mr. Fred Tomlin, and to our interpreters. We appreciate you. Thank you, Lady Shaw, for setting this up. I love you dearly. You know you're my heir, and I appreciate you. And so, Brother Fred, again, congratulations and happy anniversary with you and your wife, your lovely wife of 11 years. And so we appreciate you. So again, thank you so much, and appreciate everybody for sharing and for investing into our ministry, investing into the kingdom. We love you, and we appreciate you so very much. And we want you to have a great night. Peace and favor be upon you is our prayer until we hear from you on Sunday at 11 o'clock, our Spanish service, and 12:30, our English service. So God bless you. Bye-bye for now. Peace and favor.
Yes. I'm sowing that seed.